Welcome back, everyone. I am Sniggenhoff, and let's play some more EU4. When we last were here, I won a war. I beat Grenada. I took their land. It was great. And now I have to figure out where else to go, what else to do to expand. There's a few events I'm hoping will fire, but other than that, I may come back and dip back into the well of Northern Africa. I have a truce with Morocco and Tunis right now, but maybe I could attack Tlemcen in the meantime, take some of this land up here on the coast. Or I could, I can't really get after Brittany. I could try to attack France, but that's probably a really bad idea. And England is likely to lose this war soon. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. We're going to have an uprising down over here. The Grenadans that we just conquered aren't super thrilled with us. All of our estates still hate us, although we're getting close to them not being super pissed at us. Our corruption is growing because we have overextension, so I need to bump up this rooting out corruption thing a little bit higher. It is, again, very expensive to root out corruption. I'm going to lower this army maintenance a little bit more, so we're actually making money. We're losing great power status because of Muscovy, and we didn't quite catch up to them in development with the territory we just took. Great power is essentially the eight biggest nations in terms of development are the great powers of the world, and they get special interactions they can do with people. It is modified by certain things, which we'll deal with here in a little bit. It's actually strange we haven't dealt with it yet. The Renaissance should have fired by now, but it hasn't yet, so that's weird. We have truces, we can build buildings. Unfortunately, the only buildings we can build are forts, and we don't want to do that right now. Burgundy has disputed succession, so maybe we get a personal union over Burgundy. That'd be interesting. And other than that, we're just going to unpause and see what happens. England is claiming our land because they are meanie butts. I have a diplomat free. I'm going to send this diplomat over to Genoa. See if I can get them to like us. Sometimes Genoa will end up... Genoa is like spread out. They have these territories, but they also have like this up over here. And sometimes they can get like kind of split up, and they have this down over here. They get kind of split up and then end up with like one province left. And you can come in and vassalize them and then take all their land back, which is always nice. Also, there's some people privateering, being pirates in our trade node, stealing money from us. We could send our fleet out to, instead of protecting trade, we could have it hunt pirates, which sounds way cooler than protecting trade. But I don't think I want to do that just yet. We're probably making more money still just protecting trade than we would be hunting pirates. And while we're waiting, get like one more tick here. And bring them back. I'm going to build up a spy network against Tlemcen. Try to claim some of these coastal territories. Maybe I'll go to war with them. Diplomatic insult. Apparently Portugal insulted me. I'm going to let that slide because I don't want to fight my only ally. Seems bad. There's the Renaissance. So, the way this game used to work is Western Europe, essentially, everybody up through like Poland, up in here, had no tech penalty. They always paid they paid the lowest rates for getting technology. And then as you went farther away from Western Europe, the more penalty people would pay. Like Poland and the Ottomans and the Russians, they had like a 30% tech penalty. They paid 30% more for each technology they had to take. Well, they recently changed it so that instead of like everyone has a flat tech penalty, depending on where you're at in the world, these things called institutions will spawn. And I need to set my map modes for this. I don't have it set up yet. But these institutions will then spread throughout the world. So most everyone starts with feudalism, because that's what most of the world had at the time. Was everyone was feudal. Well, typically right on like January 1st, 1450, somehow it waited 2 years to spawn this time. The Renaissance will spawn somewhere in Italy, typically. I think actually not typically, like all the time, somewhere in Italy. So this time it spawned in Verona. And then from there, the Renaissance will spread. And there are other ways to get it to spread other than just being adjacent to it. But essentially, the fastest way is it's going to start here at the epicenter and spread outward from there. And then for every year your country goes without the Renaissance, you get a 1% tech penalty, up to 50%. So if you wait 50 years to get the Renaissance, you're paying 50% more monarch points for technologies, which makes technologies very, very expensive. So it accomplishes the same idea of like Europe was kind of the center of technology, and then it spread out from there. But it also makes it more dynamic and more interesting, and there's ways to get around it. You can sometimes spawn technologies, spawn institutions instead of where they would normally spawn in Europe. Like, you can make it spawn in China, and then the Europeans are way behind in tech, stuff like that. It's really cool. I'm not going to go super in-depth into it, but the Renaissance spawned in Italy. It's going to take a while for it to work its way over to us. It's going to spread naturally in some of our provinces just because of how much development we have in our provinces, but it's going to be a good at least 10 or 15 years likely before we have the Renaissance fully embraced. So if we end up taking techs soon, which both of these are coming up soon, and I don't really want to wait on them, we're going to have to end up paying a penalty on them most likely. And it also kind of stinks for us because it spawns in Italy, but like it spawned on this side of Italy instead of like over here in Genoa, which is like close, which would be closer to us. It's a small thing, but a little bit of RNG there. So because it spawned over here in Verona, like Austria and Hungary and Bosnia and Bohemia, like these guys are going to get it before like France and England and Castile do. So it gives a little bit, shifts the balance of power a little bit over here towards Eastern Europe for a little while. Not huge, but somewhat. What is our mission right now? I forget. Spain must be Christian. That's right. So I can. The merchants have been harassed. Disputes over the treatment of local merchants were not uncommon. All governments faced minor reports of unfair treatment and harassment of their merchants. At the higher levels, there were complaints about banditry and privateering occurring within or at the direction of a certain state. These issues could be resolved, but saber rattling was always an option. So I can escalate the complaint, and I get a diplomatic. A diplomatic reason to go to war against Aragon, essentially, and the burghers gain 10 loyalty. Or I can make Aragon like me more, but they're my rival and I don't really need that, and the burghers hate me more. I'd rather make the burghers like me, so I'm going to take that. If I wanted to declare war on them right now, I could. Also, I haven't finished my cores yet. I thought I had to wait to finish the cores on these. But this event, after having expelled the Jews on the 3rd of August, 1492, which is a couple years early, this event is spawning, the Catholic sovereigns of Spain considered it was time to look after the Moorish populations of Al-Andalus, the southern part of the peninsula from the old Muslim kingdoms of Valencia, and above all, Granada. With the renewal of the Inquisition led by that guy, Spain became a country of religious fanatics where agricultural work and crafts were considered laborers unworthy of Christians. Forced conversions followed, as well as enslavement, torture, and executions, and many were burned at the stake. In the wake of these persecutions, many thousands left Spain. So, currently my mission is to convert these 3 territories into being Catholic. And if I push this button right here, all 3 of these territories become Catholic. Now, it does come at a price. Their unrest goes up, we make less taxes from them, and we get less manpower from them. But the unrest doesn't really matter because they're going to revolt either way. Taxes and manpower kind of suck, but it's going to finish off this mission right off the bat. And so I'm going to go ahead and push this as opposed to taking this and being kind of a nice guy. Nah. So we get that. Our tolerance for the true faith goes up, which means that people who follow our religion, or territories that follow our religion, have lower unrest, essentially. I'm going to take Rival of a Rival to get this prestige and diplomatic power. So I want to make the Mamluks like me. Let's come back from Austria. The Ottomans get stronger. We have finished our cores on Granada, and now we can make that into a state. Now, the way the things in this game work, essentially, if you look at all these territories up here that I've had since the beginning of the game, most of them have 0% autonomy. So at 0% autonomy, I get the full value of their development, essentially. I don't lose any taxes, I don't lose any production, I don't lose any manpower from them. When you create cores, you first turn it into a territorial core, which brings the autonomy floor from 100% to 75%. So right now in these territories, I'm only getting 25% of the development, 25% of the taxes, 25% of the trade, and 25% of the manpower. When I turn it into a state, which I have to pay a little bit of money, it's going to cost us 0.19 ducats of maintenance every month. And it's not going to pay for itself, or at least not right now. So when I make it into a state, the floor drops from 75 to 50. So now I'm getting half the value of the development in each one of these provinces. Then you can pay even more administrative points from what we spent earlier and make them into full cores, which doesn't cost any. It doesn't cost any time, like the other, like coring it before did. And it brings the autonomy down even further. So now the autonomy in these three is at 38.2%, and it's ticking down at 0.10 each month. So eventually these are going to get down to 0. But our estates want more land because we got more land, and each estate, like the clergy and the nobility, want 15% of your land. Otherwise, they get mad and their loyalty ticks down. And then the burghers currently only want 0% of my land. They have a little bit more than that because Sevilla is a really nice province to give them. But the clergy wants more lands. Typically, if they were above 40%, I would revoke a province that's at 25% autonomy from them. Because likely, if I were to revoke this province, it would go from 25% to 0% autonomy, like instantly. But because they're disloyal, if I were to revoke it right now, there would be a small rebellion in that territory, and I don't want to have to deal with it. So I'm just going to give them one of these smaller ones, the 222 provinces, not the 663. Don't want to go into development and how it works right now, but just know that a bigger number is better, essentially. So I'm going to give them one of these smaller territories, and hopefully that is enough to satiate them. And it is. Hooray. What else do I want to do? Countries with a higher condottieri. I wonder if Burgundy would be willing to hire out my troops right now. That would give us something to do. Who's Burgundy fighting against? Provence, Lorraine, France, Savoy. Geez, they are fighting against literally everybody. Unfortunately, because they're fighting against France, the Burgundian inheritance can't happen, I'm pretty sure. Let's bring that guy back from wherever he was. Genoa? Genoa. And see what you would be willing to pay me for condottieri. So here, you would give me 1.6 times their... Yeah. So you can hire out your troops to other nations, essentially. Wait, hold on. Cancel that. Can I put... Oh, you can't hire out the one with the hair. That's right. I think you can hire out 20 at a time. So I'm gonna put one more infantry over here, along with my good leader. Hopefully that gets me more money. So yeah, you can hire out your troops to countries who are willing to buy them for money. And is that the highest you will go? That is the highest you will go. So basically, they're going to pay me a lump sum up front, and then after 6 months runs out, they're going to pay me 1.5 times the maintenance of the troops. So I'm going to make money by renting out these troops, and I don't have anything else to do with them right now. So that'll allow us to do some things. They're fighting with France, unfortunately, which isn't great for us. but it will give us something to do in the meantime. I do use my own manpower reinforcements, I'm pretty sure, but that's fine. Also, you can't just hire out condottieri and then do nothing with them. They kind of get really ticked at you. Oh, France won their war with England, and they took all of this territory. The country that you hired them out to will get kind of mad at you for doing that. So you do, and then countries will be less likely to hire your condottieri in the future. Condottieri is both a fun and a hard word to say at times. So yeah, you don't want to hire them out and then like not do anything with them. But it can be advantageous to hire them out to somebody who's like about to lose a war, and then get the lump sum, and then get your troops back immediately because they lost the war. But our subjects have taken to telling tales and legends about Enrique III that guy. The legend says that in Castile's darkest hour, he will return to our nation, deliver it from the evil, and regardless of the truth in the statement, we could use this in our propaganda. It's definitely not true because Enrique sucks. But so I either pay some money and a little bit of admin for yearly prestige, plus one, which is good, or lose the prestige. So yeah, typically you always take that. So my prestige is ticking down a little bit slower than it was before. Oh, I also remembered what I need to do with this diplomat, because if anyone who's been watching has played this game before, they will know that I have not been embargoing my rivals from the very beginning of the game and losing power projection because of it. So I'm going to do that now. I'm sorry. Embargo. And embargo. So yeah, if anyone who knows how to play this game has been watching me, you can now stop pulling the hair out of your head, and I do apologize. Let's improve with Venice. Also, we can now take tech. So we're taking a little bit of a penalty for not having the Renaissance, but we're also getting a bonus for one of our neighbors has diplomatic tech 4 and we don't, so we get a minus 5% bonus. So we're coming out a little bit ahead on that anyway. And we can now build marketplaces, which I will most likely do. I definitely want to build one in Sevilla. Marketplaces increase the trade power of a province, and you definitely want to build it in all your provinces that are centers of trade. Like Sevilla is a center of trade and natural estuary. This is a really good one to build it in. I don't know if there's any other ones I have. Not really. I think I'll hold off. It can be useful to build in other territories, but I don't really... I think I'll wait until I get access to temples to build it up in other territories. I honestly do wish I could have hired out the army with Enrique. You can't hire out You can't hire out your generals that are led, armies that are led by your leader or your heir. But Enrique does have a siege pip, so I'd be able to do this faster than I'm doing it right now. Condottieri is a really cool thing, though, because it allows you to inject yourself into war without like having the risk of losing territory. Like, you do have the risk of losing men, but you are getting paid for it. So the men you're sending off to die are getting the short end of the stick, but the crown is making bank off of it, and that's all that matters, right? So I'm just going to run around the south of France and siege down stuff. These 30,000 French armies might be coming after me, which is kind of scary. I don't really want to fight both of them, especially when they both have like 2-star generals leading them. That doesn't seem like a good time, but we'll see. Are any of these... Yes. I want to claim that one. So yeah, I now have a claim on Tlemcen. Don't really have anybody else I can hire out as condottieri. I can get the superior unit types, and I don't think this messes with our dudes, but it might. It does. It's alright. There's no French troops near us, hopefully. We got superior unit types. As you tech up, your units will get better. And when you switch it, all the types of that unit go down. Their morale goes down to 0 and has to tick back up. So that affected that, but it would only matter if I was about to get into a fight right there, and it doesn't look like I'm going to. So, high taxes, cultural, and religious differences have caused unhappiness among our citizens. If this continues, it will drastically affect the stability of our nation. I could ignore them, and Gibraltar gets +10 unrest. Again, it will... the rebellion will fire, no matter what I do. So, giving it +10 unrest just makes it fire sooner. Or I can lower taxes, giving it -5 unrest and +20 local autonomy. I think I'm going to ignore them. I do have to be careful about that a little bit, because these 20 troops are away right now, and I don't so I don't have the bulk of my forces back home to be able to fight off a rebellion. But I can, I am in control of them, so I can bring them back home if I need to during a rebellion. And I've sieged down a fort. It's unlikely that the Burgundians will be mad at me if I do that. I need to stop rolling disease outbreaks on this siege. That would be great. I already claimed that one. 7 development, 8 development, 8 development. I wonder how they're doing in this war. Probably not great. Yeah, they're losing it. They have -33% war score. The Grenadian separatists are at 80%. I'm going to raise my army maintenance real quick. And I'm going to turn this fort back on. So I'm going to turn this fort back on. There we go. How big is this rebellion going to be? 16k. So, all 3 of these territories down here where they're going to spawn, well, these 2 are mountains. And, because this one has a fort, if they spawn on this territory and I go attack them, they get the penalty for being in the mountains instead of me. If they spawn here, I'm already here, so I'll be the defender in the mountains, and so they'll get the penalty instead of me. And if they spawn down over here, it's also mountains. I was looking at that one as drylands. So yeah, it's all 3 of these are mountains. So I kind of have to just take a gamble on whether if they spawn not in the center one, whether they'll spawn on these 2 sides. Most likely they'll spawn here because this is the higher development province, but it can be screwy sometimes. I don't really want to conquer Zaragoza, which is Aragonese territory, because again, I want to get this all for free. I don't want to have to conquer it. Pretender rebels. They may be losing their personal union over Naples, which would be unfortunate. I could take the mission to incorporate Navarra, because if England still held these 2 territories, I would kind of want to sneak those 2 territories and give them to Navarra, and then incorporate all 3 of those and pay diplomatic points instead of administrative points to core those, essentially. But because England doesn't have them, and I don't see myself fighting France over them, incorporating Navarra may be just fine. Gives me extra diplomatic reputation, although you get -3 diplomatic reputation for incorporating a vassal. The manpower reserves, you have to get to 90% manpower reserves, and we're at 1100 out of 28,000, and they tick up at 236 a month. So it takes a long time for this to happen, a very long time. Most likely we'll be in another war before this happens. I think I'm going to go ahead and take this one, because it's unlikely I'm going to have anything to feed to Navarra. So I'm going to go ahead and start incorporating Navarra, I guess. And we'll get that done in the next episode. For now, I'm Snegenhoff. Thank you so much for watching. Go ahead and like this video. Subscribe if you feel like it. Leave a comment down below. Tell me that you really hate that I'm playing Castile because the color yellow is, you don't like it. Yeah. Also, if you feel so inclined, follow me on Twitter at Sniggenhoff. That's SNIGGENHOFF. Sniggenhoff. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye.